Welcome to the Harley Carnes podcast, Harley on the Headlines. We're going to take a look at some of the headlines of the day. And I want to thank you. Thank you for coming back if you've been here before. And if it's your first time, hey, welcome. Glad you're here. Hope you'll invite some others to join us too. Like, follow, subscribe. And as you know, we found a little word of mouth goes a long ways. It can help a lot. And I thank you for it. Okay, now, diplomats are known for flexible language, but hopefully and ultimately clear words and results. It is not easy. For what it's worth, and the words don't seem to be worth a whole lot in the so-called negotiations between Iran and the U.S., but for what it's worth, they are going to stop shooting at each other again, at least for the time being. Now, here's what we need to keep in mind. The one thing that matters and makes these negotiations so different. In most negotiations with other nations or between corporations or just a boss and an employee, both come to the table with a goal they can state clearly. Nation A wants to accomplish this. Nation B wants to accomplish that. You try to find a middle ground. In this case, there is a fly in the ointment. The middle ground that the U.S. seeks and that the world wants is Iran with no chance of nuclear weapons ever. There are two ways to get that done. One, you beat the opponent bloody and broken and beaten, and then they give up and you dictate the terms of their surrender. President Trump deluded himself, I think, into thinking he had gotten close enough to make that happen. He didn't really want bloody and broken and beaten. He thought destroying their Navy and Air Force and burying most of their nuclear facilities in millions of tons of rock and dirt and sand ought to be enough. And it should have been. But it isn't. Not with these people. Iran still claims in speeches to have a right to nuclear facilities, specifically enrichment, which they have said for decades is only for electric power, but which has been used in pursuit of high-grade, weapons-grade enrichment. Iran says one thing, does another. Iran agrees to one thing, turns it into a lie, before you finish shaking hands on the deal. The best Obama could get was a 10-year delay and then a virtual guarantee that Iran would build nukes. Wow. That was awful. I mean, that was really inept. Anyway, Iran does not come to the table with an intention of finding peace. Their intention is to continue in power with the radical beliefs that power them. They live in the hope of eventually, literally, killing every Israeli and of destroying the United States. That's not hyperbole. That's what they've said for nearly 50 years. And what they still say today. That is perhaps not good enough for the region or for the world. And we have idiots in Washington called some Democrats who do everything they can to prevent Trump from winning at the negotiating table or on the battlefield. Support is not in their lexicon, no matter how obvious the need to this country is. And our latest challenge is from the completely insane, far-left, socialist, communist movement that says out loud that America's whole system of government ought to be taken apart, that capitalism, the engine that has powered the most successful and, yes, most powerful nation the world has ever seen, should be turned into a Chinese, Russian, Marxist dream come true. So here's the prediction. Iran knows the American midterm elections are looming over the politicians they face at the negotiating table. They will talk and promise and lie and try to make it as hard as possible on President Trump and therefore Republicans in the election by continuing to harass and prevaricate and delay on the Strait of Hormuz, which is their only remaining pressure point. Now, whatever happens in November, by December, the new job for the U.S. military may be bloody, broken, and beaten for Iran until they look up from the stained sand and with a weak gesture croak, "You win, we lose. Here's my sword." If and when that happens, Hezbollah will be out of business quickly. The Houthis, Ansar Allah, will be out of business quickly. Hamas, already crippled, will be fully out of business and quickly. And the region and the world will be a much safer place. Trying to dismantle Iran's wide organization of terror proxies is a very tall order, because once there is an agreement that defangs Iran, Iran will still be in the oil business with abundance, which means billions of dollars in oil revenue and presumably an end of crippling sanctions, and they can do what they want with their money. If Iran ever decides to become a good and useful and peaceful member of the world community, with radical Islamists removed from power, the world will have taken a major step toward being a better home for all of humanity. If Iran's radicals remain in power, either in the light or from the shadows, then life on this vulnerable, sensitive blue dot in a galactic ocean of black will continue to be at risk. One more thing. If they have not done it by November, Saudi Arabia will become the newest nation to sign on to the Abraham Accords and make what is hoped to be a lasting peace with Israel. That'll be a major step. It hasn't happened yet, but it'll happen. For most of us, there is puzzlement about President Donald Trump and the depth and the breadth of his personality, his habits, proclivities, and unpredictabilities. He is a complicated man. So it was with a lot of pleasure and edification, unexpected, that I watched a lengthy piece from Dr. Jordan B. Peterson, who is one of the most insightful and accomplished psychiatrists and teachers of our day, who delves deeply into the psyche of President Trump. Now, I can tell you, you would do well to watch this, no matter what you think of Trump, because you will understand vastly more about what makes the man tick psychologically than you do right now. That's pretty much guaranteed, because Jordan Peterson is smarter than you are about these issues, smarter than I am, all the rest of us. He recorded the piece after Trump's first term, but before the current one really got going. It's too lengthy for me to drop into this cast, probably the last 40 minutes, though I might very well use it one day for a Not Just the Headlines podcast down the road a bit. If you can't write it all down, try to memorize this. Just do a search for Dr. Jordan Peterson, "Donald Trump is not acting recklessly." It's on YouTube, and it's on his Facebook page. It is the most detailed look at Trump that I've ever seen. And it comes from a respected psychiatric doctor. Donald Trump is not acting recklessly, by Dr. Jordan Peterson. Absolutely worth watching. A federal grand jury is looking into the funding of far leftist groups, and one of the men being investigated is based in Shanghai, China. Neville Roy Singham is a tech billionaire, and he is a Marxist. He has helped to fund socialist, communist, Marxist groups all over the U.S. for at least the last 10 years. Singham has reportedly been the primary source of funds for a Goldman Sachs philanthropy fund, so-called, and two shell corporations that allegedly fed hundreds of millions of dollars to media, nonprofits, and activist groups that support socialist politicians, push identity politics, and political division. Actions that can be found literally in Chairman Mao's communist playbook in pursuit of a far-left New World Order. Now, what makes this grand jury effort notable is that Goldman Sachs is reportedly cooperating in the probe. It'll be very interesting to see where that foreign money has gone, whose political careers have been supported, and what those organizations have been up to. How about some good news from artificial intelligence? This comes from UC Berkeley, where 440,000 patient records from all over the world have been studied by AI, which noticed something that doctors didn't know and have never been able to catch on electrocardiograms. It's technical, but the bottom line is AI noticed something that will improve the ability to spot patients earlier who are at elevated risk of sudden heart attack. It probably means a lot more lives will be saved because AI found an indicator the best doctors couldn't see, but now they too can look for it. Now this is sad, medical, sad. You may remember running back Chris Johnson at the Tennessee Titans. He ran for more than 2,000 yards in his second season. He was 2009 Offensive Player of the Year for the NFL, Pro Bowl the same year, 3 times in the Pro Bowl. Now we learn Chris Johnson has Lou Gehrig's disease. He says he can't even pick up his 7-year-old daughter. He could do it a year ago, but today, no. There is no cure for amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, in which the brain progressively loses the ability to communicate with the muscles. It was made famous and infamous by Lou Gehrig of the New York Yankees many, many, many years ago. Over time, and sometimes quite quickly, a person loses the ability to run, loses strength, can't walk, and then can't talk, or get dressed, or write on paper, or eat, swallow, and finally, they can't breathe. Of course, that's it. It's a slow, awful way to go, and science is still searching for a cure. As far as we know, they're not really close. Prayers for Chris Johnson. Here's an example of mindless opposition to whatever Donald Trump wants to do, speaking of sports, even when it's an outstanding idea. Presidents ever since Eisenhower have famously played golf. Of them all, Trump is probably the best golfer, and he alone among them knows how to build great golf courses and what that takes, because he's done it all over the world. Well, he took a look at the East Potomac Golf Course, which is open to the general public. You or I, we could go play golf there if we wanted to. And he said, this won't do. Like most public courses, it's okay, but it's nothing really to write home about. Trump said the course needs to be brought not up just to respectability, but worthy of Ryder Cup, U.S. Open, PGA Championships, and so on. And why not? He says the Interior Department will undertake to do that with Tom Fazio, noted golf course architect in charge. He says the people will love their public course. Of course, he's being challenged by the left, and it's being held up right now. The D.C. Preservation League and 2 lefty local people want environmental reviews. They want historic preservation reviews. Now think about that one. They want to preserve the old rundown historic nature of that golf course. All golf courses of any quality are constantly improved and changed. Greens are shifted, hazards altered, added, taken away, expanded, shrunk, whatever. Golf courses are the most ongoingly environmentally managed and adjusted pieces of property you can ask for. And the great ones always have an eye toward beauty, in addition to the challenges that make them a destination. Why shouldn't the public have such a course? We could take the money for one new battle tank or one new military plane and build a couple of them. A driver on Savannah Road in Delaware suffered from a medical issue, lost control of his car, and hit several other cars, including one in which Senator Chris Coons, Democrat, was injured. Senator Coons was taken to Beebe Hospital in Lowe's, Delaware, treated and sent home. He'll be okay. Here's hoping for a speedy recovery. Did you know that for 4 years, beginning in 1972, capital punishment, the death penalty, was outlawed in the United States? It was a Supreme Court decision at the time, on this date, actually, which is why I mentioned it. The ultimate penalty for capital crimes was reinstated in 1976, and most people, according to the polls, support it. They may hate it, but the law-abiding can live with it. Now, there's a new world record and it's not Guinness. This one was decided in a contest in Las Vegas for the world's fastest pizza maker. The challenge was to make 3 pizzas, 1 pepperoni, 1 mushroom, and 1 just cheese. A Domino's pizza manager from Manassas, Virginia, Richard Del Cid, did it. 3 pizzas made in 31.2 seconds. Here's the story from WUSA, Channel 9.
Football had Brady, basketball had Jordan. Domino's? They have their own legend in Richard Delson.
He's a dog, I won't lie, he's a dog.
High praise from customers for a man who sets an even higher bar.
And he make the fastest pizza, and he right here in my city.
Ready, set, again. Come on, Richard!
Let's go!
Just watch. In the amount of time it takes to tie your shoes,
Record time right here, Richard. Record time right here, Richard.
Richard can make 3 hand-tossed large pizzas.
Okay.
Most of us can't pick apart a pack of pepperoni as fast as he churns out pies.
How does one become the fastest pizza maker in the world?
A lot of practicing.
And don't worry, these particular ones are not for consuming. It's all part of Richard's training.
It's tough. It's pretty intense.
That's store owner Robert Donner, referring to Domino's version of the World Cup. The world's fastest pizza-making competition.
There was just something special about him.
Special when Richard approached this Las Vegas stage recently and turned the competition into crust.
With a 31.22 world record.
3 large pizzas, 31.22 seconds.
What are people's reactions when they find out you're the fastest pizza maker in the world?
Shocked. My God, you can do 3 pizzas that fast?
But Richard's path from Manassas, Virginia to Vegas, that took much longer.
The Richard that we see today is very different than the Richard who first stepped into Domino's.
I've never thought about it, until now that you're thinking, we're talking, never thought about, what would I do? It just took me off the streets, just not to hang out with the wrong crowds.
He was hired in high school by his sister and started at the bottom.
And honestly, she didn't see me as a manager, but now she's like, wow.
Manager and now world champ.
Now my daughter is 12 and turning 13 in the next couple months. And she actually texted me saying, hey, my friends are asking about you. Are you, the world's fastest pizza maker? And I'm telling them, yeah.
What does that mean to you?
It means a lot. I can't explain it, honestly.
Pure pride. And while he can quickly top any pizza, he won't soon top that. In Manassas, Virginia, Sean Martinelli, WUSA 9.
So once it went through the oven, would you eat one of those pizzas? Sure. I mean, why not, right? I guess that'll do it. I want to thank you for dropping in, for tuning in today. Sure hope you'll come back, bring some folks with you. You've given me some of your time. Time's precious, and I appreciate it. I hope you'll pop in from time to time to harleycarnes.com as well, and you can find the podcast on Spotify, on X, or Facebook as well. I am Harley Carnes. Until next time, do yourself a favor. Make some good, conscious decisions in your life. Make a decision to be happy. And fly safe. It's the only way to get there.